Bonjour les garçons and welcome to a new grammar video where I'm going to talk this time about les pronoms compléments. Les pronoms compléments is something you should be familiar with. Les pronoms compléments is they are the words you use to replace a noun or to avoid repeating a noun in a sentence or if you give an answer, for instance. There is a very famous French example I use and my colleagues use as well because I think it makes perfect sense to start with this. It is je regarde le garçon. Okay, so far nothing very impressive. We have our subject here, our verb here, and our object. If you take a look, as you can see here, the connection between the verb and the object is direct. So these, the ones we are going to mention now, are called pronoms complément direct. They are also called COD, okay? Complément d'objet direct. So if I don't want to repeat my object here, le garçon, what am I going to say in French? I'm going to say this. Je le regarde, meaning I watch him. As you can see, in French, the object is before the verb. That is very important. Je le regarde, I watch him. Let's pretend I am watching a girl. Well, same scenario, same situation, but this time the pronoun is going to be feminine. Just like in English, I watch her. And as you can see, la is also before the verb. What if I watch the dogs? Je regarde les chiens. Well, again, je les regarde, I watch them. And here you have your three pronoms complément direct for the third person. So as you can see, two things you should keep in mind. The pronom complément d'objet direct can be, first of all, someone, an animal. It can also be an object. You go to smart home, you watch new mobile phones, right? Je regarde le téléphone, l'iPhone 6. Je le regarde would also work, okay? And depending on the genre of the noun, masculine, feminine, or plural, we will use different objects. Le, la, and les. But are they the only pronoms complément direct? Of course not, because sometimes you will say, I watch you, I watch them, I watch us, okay? I watch myself. So I'm going to make you the list of all the pronoms complément d'objet direct right now. This we are going to reduce, we're going to put here. This we're going to delete. Okay. So the full list that you also have on page 124 of your grammar book is the following. Me, te, right? Le, la. This is the singular. And then you have nous, that doesn't change. Vous, and the last one, that is les. And these are our COD, complément d'objet direct. Je me regarde, I watch myself. Je te regarde, I watch you. Je le regarde, I watch him, I watch it. Je la regarde, I watch her, I watch it. Je nous regarde, I watch ourselves. Je vous regarde, I watch you. Je les regarde, I watch them. Now, what happens if the verb starts with a vowel, like aimer, I love her, or I love him? In this case, you will use the apostrophe. Je l'aime. Not only for le la, you will also use it for me and you. This is why in French we say je t'aime, I love you. Je t'adore, I adore you, right? This is that simple. What happens if you want to use the negative? As usual, pas will come after the verb, right here, and ne before the verb, because you already have a pronom complément. Ne will be here. Je ne l'aime pas, I don't like him. Je ne t'aime pas, I don't like you, I don't love you. It is that easy. So I believe we covered pretty much everything. And because we did, I suggest you do all the exercises on page 125 of the grammar book. Good luck. Now we are on page 126 of the grammar book. And this time we still talk about pronom complément, but we are going to take a look at the indirect ones. Pronom complément indirect. So these are not the COD, but the COI, right? Complément d'objet indirect. How do they work? Let's take another very famous example. Je téléphone à Jean. I am calling Jean. Earlier, I showed you, right, that the connection between my verb here and my object was direct. Here, as you can see, it is not the case, as we have that little preposition here. And this is why they are called pronom complément indirect. What does this mean? Well, it does not mean much if I were to say je te téléphone, I call you, right? Or if I were to say je vous téléphone, I call you guys later. This will not affect our pronoun. However, if we use a third person, him, her, and them, it's going to be completely different. Because we have the preposition right here, I cannot say le, la, les. I have to use lui. So, je téléphone à Jean is je lui téléphone. This is what the pronom complément indirect is about. There is one good news though. The good news is that pronom complément indirect is not masculine or feminine. So if I speak to a girl, her name is Jeanne, we will also use je lui téléphone. Lui is masculine and feminine. This is for the good news. You won't have to learn a second one. And if I am talking to Jeanne and Jeanne et Marc, les is going to become leur, L-E-U-R. Je leur téléphone, I call them. So you're going to ask me, how do we know if the verb has a preposition or not? Well, you can't really know. But there is a list of the very common ones on page 126 on your book. I can write them down here and explain to you. So here it is. I made two columns because I want to explain something. First of all, as you can see, on this side on the left, parler à, demander à, dire à. All these verbs are what we call verbs of communication. And basically, you always use à with them. Talk to someone, ask someone. In French, we use à. Say, tell to someone, okay? Answer someone. Call someone. Many verbs like these, which are called verbs of communication, require that little a. Once you know them, just keep in mind that you must use lui and leur if you were to use an indirect object. Now, you have also some other verbs like écrire, to write to someone, to borrow someone money or whatever, to smile to someone. All these verbs, you will also need to use a. And there is something very interesting actually. There are two verbs that are indirect, but you will not use lui and leur. These verbs are penser and s'intéresser à. This is very awkward. I'm not sure why it is like this. But if you use penser and s'intéresser à, you will not need to use lui and leur before. Let me show you. So here it is. We have penser à and s'intéresser à. And as you can see, if I say I'm thinking about him, just like in English, I think him, right? I'm thinking about him. It will look like this. Je pense à lui. And very strange also, in this case, we can use elle. Okay? We don't say je pense à lui if we talk about a girl. So, je pense à lui, je pense à elle, il s'intéresse à lui, il s'intéresse à elle would be a proper way to use these two verbs with indirect pronoun. So I believe I have covered pretty much everything for pronom complément direct, COD, and pronom complément indirect. So now what you can try to do is all the exercises on page 127. These ones are about pronom complément indirect, COI. Merci les garçons.